Let's look at Alisyn Camerota, who has returned to her focus group of Trump supporters. What, did you want me to say something differently about them?
I just want to say that Bugattis cost over $1 million.
Wow. All right. I mean, if you amortize that over the lifetime of the car, I'm sure it's worth it.
When they're about over 100 miles per hour, they burn something ridiculous like a quart of gallon of gas per second.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Wow.
All right. So here's Alisyn Camerota. After hearing about the Bugatti-loving Trump voters, here's Alisyn Camerota back with her. Is this the staple? This is a different focus group of Trump voters, and they're going to give take the temperature of his presidency so far. Here they go. They're giving him a grade. Let's see how much reality has permeated. Now, folks, also remember, okay, that even his core support has shrunk, according to Nate Silver and those folks. Even his base is shrinking, and the intensity of those, particularly the strongly approved versus somewhat approve of Trump, that is also shrinking, or I should say that delta is shrinking. And that means that there are less strongly approved people and some more somewhat approval people. All right, but here's Alisyn Camerota talking in the focus group.
So I know that you all have a grade that 4 months in that you would give President Trump. So 3, 2, 1. A plus, A minus, B minus, A minus, B minus, C. Okay, so Brooke, you gave him the lowest grade, and I know that at one time you considered yourself a diehard Trump supporter, so why today a C?
It really comes down to his character. Honestly, the straw that broke the camel's back for me was his tweets.
Pause it for 1 second. With all due respect, I appreciate that she has given this guy a C. But if you're doing it based on character, and you did not get any clues from him saying that he likes to grab women's pussies and they let him do it because he puts a Tic Tac in his mouth and he's famous.
It's called being a gentleman.
Or the literally over a dozen women who claim to have been sexually harassed and assaulted by him. The fact that he has... I mean, I could go on and on and on, but if the issue is character, and you didn't pick up on this before the election.
Also, he's been tweeting the whole time as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some linear dynamics there too.
But we're going to have a big tent here.
You know what, Alisyn, tweeting was a bubble?
Yeah, good.
His character, honestly, the straw that broke the camel's back for me was his tweets.
Now, Donald Trump tweeted a lot during the campaign.
I liked how he was calling people out, draining the swamp.
Well, what bothers you about his tweets now?
The name calling, the belittling, I teach my children not to say these things to people. And yet he's a grown man just bullying all these people, whether they're right or wrong. That's not how you approach a situation when you're president of the United States.
Now, hold on for 1 second. I don't know if they followed up on this. It's possible her Twitter feed, she selected the wrong thing and it's not going chronologically, and she's only now getting all the stuff that he tweeted and did during the campaign.
Like, oh my God, what a monster.
I'm joking about that.
I think that the obvious difference would be that before, when you're comparing this person to one other person, when you're comparing him to Hillary Clinton, it makes it much easier to decide to be a Trump supporter. When you're only comparing him to himself, it gets much, much worse.
I guess.
I think if you just hate Hillary Clinton
fun of someone
and you just think that the establishment, and which seems to be this big thing in these people's minds, and the drain the swamp thing, if you're just so against all of that, he comes off a lot better, and you let a lot of things pass. Whereas when he's just been president, it's just all awful.
I think they also dislike that it gives him ammunition, because it's an easy thing to reference. Oh, here's what he tweeted today. Here's another thing we can
Frankly, I'm a little offended.
use against them.
All right, let's keep going.
In my opinion.
And show of hands, how many people are bothered by his tweets? So three of you are bothered by his tweets.
But
Three
what
of
we
you.
love about him is he is not a politician. What we hate about him, he's not a politician.
Dennis, you gave President Trump an A.
Yes.
Is there
Plus.
anything,
A+.
an A+, is there anything in the past 4 months that has given you pause about this presidency?
I think because I'm in that 70-year age bracket, that I have a little more understanding of somebody just being real, because I want people who are real. No matter what anybody says, I think he's more truthful than most people I've heard running the campaign.
But what about some of the things that he has clearly changed his tune on? What about some of the things where he said, China is a currency manipulator? No, they're not. NATO is obsolete. No, it's no longer obsolete. He said during the campaign, I will save Medicare, I will save Medicaid, Social Security without cuts. The budget was just released. There are cuts.
We learn as we go. He's going to make mistakes. And he's also going to say something. You know, when you're put on the spot, like I am right now, I might say something that's not exactly what I wanted to say later, you know?
But you're not president.
No, it's just he's not perfect.
So you give him a B-, David.
Yeah.
And what was the moment that started to turn for you from an A to now a B-?
Healthcare reform. I'm big on healthcare. I think Obamacare is definitely the wrong path because I know from personal experience I had to pay the mandates every year at tax time, either that or face a penalty.
You felt that President Trump could have gone further with health care.
I think that he could have really sat them down a little more. I think it was a little rushed.
You don't understand anything.
He's a single payer guy, I bet. I do.
Oh,
Last guy is exactly the guy who fell for the kind of the attacking Obamacare from the left thing right there. That's a good example of that. And the old guy is great. He's just like, hey, when I got 65, I started saying the N-word again, man. Just wanted to be real. It's great to be real.
Maybe he has untreated syphilis as well.
I mean, this is the thing is that, like, you know, it really, I think it's just a matter of, I don't even know how to respond to something like this. Like, now obviously you're not going to move that guy, but even the people who have changed their position on Trump, it still seems to me just as crazy. Like the guy who says, I just want my president to be real. And so every time he screws up, it just reinforces. And every time he tells a lie, it reinforces because real people do that all the time.
That's right.
That guy actually makes more sense to me.
Oh, completely.
Even though he's given him an A+, than the woman who's given him a C because of his tweets.
Well, she's the one who makes
He's worried about his character
sense.
now.
I think the B- guy is a guy who fell for the scam, and that might speak to his intelligence or lack thereof. But he fell,
or at the very least, you could say, like, you know, I think there's a perfectly good argument that the Democratic Party did not sell, did not explain. I mean, the best thing if Obamacare was just the Patient Protection Act, I think it would have been better if there was no promise and pretending. I mean, this is the one problem I think that you could see with the Democratic Party, and Snyder talked about it with Hillary Clinton. You know, America's doing as great as it's ever done. Well, no, actually, maybe some people are,
but not for most people.
Not for most people. And the problem with the Affordable Care Act is that they called it the Affordable Care Act as opposed to the Patient Protection part.
Well, and even if you called it that, you'd still have
the
penalty.
Yes,
I mean that's just going to be real for some people. You know that their costs go up out of pocket.
Yes,
he clearly fit in that category.
It
would have been a more appropriate.
If it was just an expansion of Medicaid, and it was we're going to have to mandate, you're going to have to buy insurance. Or pay this penalty, and insurance is going to be a much better product. Like if they had just not oversold the Affordable Care Act. But the problem is they wanted to put the brakes on insurance reform.
Right.
And if you'd just done the PP, then it wouldn't have put the brakes on that. You would have still need to go further.
And as we always said, I mean, Trump in particular, but even other Republicans attacked it from the left, and Trump explicitly so, running around saying the prices will be lower and everyone needs to have health care. I mean,
the first lady isn't all of a sudden worried about his character and his tweets. I think it's more of her social surroundings are probably more critical of Trump now, and that's why the tweets are a problem.
Good point.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Hey, Sam Seder here. Folks, you probably heard about the whole YouTube advertiser apocalypse. Well, we're suffering from it too. We need your help. If you want to keep this show alive, you want us to be able to still put out clips on a regular basis, head over to our Patreon page. Here's the link right here or down below there. And just give us a couple bucks a month and support this program. Really appreciate it.